Hello, Claire. I wanted to make another training video to try to help you to be able to find the products on the Wholesale House website. So I wanted to give you an example with one of the eBay sellers that I was able to identify. And I wanted to show you that you can come to the sheet under the sellers list where we already identified 1, 2, 3 potential eBay sellers that are selling items from the wholesale house. So I'm copying the seller name. I am coming over to Zeek Analytics. I am going to competitor research, and I'm copying and pasting the seller's name and then hitting search. So then right here, I'm looking at all their store metrics, and then here are all the products, okay? So what I want to do is I want to go to the header, and I want to sort by, total numbers sold from the highest to the least, and these are, basically their most, popular selling items. So this one has sold 57 times. So what I want you to do, I want to click on the listing, and then you're going to look at the listing, you're going to look at the product, right? Now we see here that the item location, it does say that it's coming from Hicksville, Ohio, which is the same location where our supplier, the wholesale house, ships their products from. Okay, so the item has sold 57 times, but recently it has sold just one time in February, and then a few more times in December. So the item has sold a lot more in the past, but right now it has only really sold one time. Okay, what else? So we look at the listing, and then we can start to compare and see if this item, we can find it in the wholesale house direct inventory list. So we have here the UPC, so we can try to look by the UPC. There's the MPN, so let's see if we can maybe find it by the MPN. So I have right here the latest list, inventory list from the wholesale house. I'll bring it over. So here's a list. Now I'm going to copy this MPN, and we're going to do control find, and then, okay, so here's the list. Here's the item. Here's the MPN. Here's the item. So let's make this a little bit easier. I'm going to put some filters on the sheet, and then I'm just going to click on and look for the item. So here's the item. You hit OK. So here it is. So the item, it sells for $31.99, and there's 100 that are in stock. Okay, so we found the item. The item is here. Okay. So then once we find the item, then we want to, go to the eBay sales calculator. I don't remember which, yeah, I think it's this one. Okay, so this seller is selling the item for $50.95, so we're gonna put in $50.95. The shipping price, we're advertising it as free, the quantity is 1, and then the item cost, so we're gonna go back to the Excel sheet. So the item is gonna cost $31.99. Another thing I forgot to mention is that the supplier actually does charge a drop shipping fee, and that's $1.97. So we need to add $1.97 to this. I actually did not know about this until recently. So then the total price is actually $33.96. Okay, so don't forget about the $1.97. So let me go back. $33.96. So the top is $33.96. Now the shipping cost, we're gonna assume that it's gonna be $12.85. And so right now, with the how the current data is being actually populated, we'll actually not be making any money. We'll actually be negative $3.09. So at this price, the item is not selling. So this sales price doesn't make any sense. So then what we can do is we want to look if there are any other sellers who are selling the same item. So let's take the MPN and I'm gonna open up another window and I'm gonna search for this MPN. Okay, so here are a few more listings. So this one is selling it for 55. Let's click on where it says sold items. So this item might not be very, I guess, popular. I mean, so this one's selling for a lot cheaper. So that's not going to work for us. So maybe something that we could do here is that maybe we can sell this item as a bundle. So maybe like a pack of 2. That's something different that someone is not doing. And we can probably, increase the price to make more profit by selling it as a pack of 2 as opposed to just one item. So that's an idea, okay? But that's something that we'll have to look into to see if that makes sense. So okay, so let's skip that item. So maybe that item wasn't a good example. So let's look at another item. So let's look at this one. So again, so this one has sold 55 times, and it has sold 3 times in February. $67.95. Okay. Again, Hicksville, Ohio. So we know it's the same location, or we assume that it is. So MPN. So let's look at the MPN and go back to the list. And let's search for it. There it is. So here's the item, and the item is selling for $39.99. We need to add the $1.97 like in the example. So the total cost without shipping is $41.96. So here we have to put $41.96, and they are selling it for $67.95. So go back, $67.95. Hold on, $67.95. Okay. $41.96. Okay, so in this example, so this item, there is profit. So there's $3.72 profit on this item, assuming that the shipping cost is going to be $12.85. Now the item, so we need to check here what is the weight of the item. So you can go back to the sheet, and we can look for the weight. It's about 2 pounds. So it should not be too expensive to ship. So if the shipping does turn out to be around, not more than $12.95, then we are making profit. But yet again, just another example of how I am able to find these items, and it's not very difficult. You just need to, use the information that you have. Use Seek Analytics. It's going to tell you which items are the most popular items from this supplier. And there's a lot more. There's this one too. This is like pepper spray. Well, this item says that it's out of stock. So let's see this item, the supplier has it. So let's click on this and let's go back to the sheet. And so here it is, right? And the item is out of stock. It sells for $7.99 and they're selling it for $18.95. So if we do the math, they're selling it for $18.95. No, sorry. They're selling it for $18.95. Okay, the item cost was $7.99, I believe. Plus $1.97 drop ship fee. So actually the total is $9.96. $9.96. So this item here with shipping, assuming that the item would ship for $12.85, that might be a bit too expensive. I know the shipping part can be a little bit confusing because the shipping I am estimating on the best of my ability with the information that I have. So this item does not even weigh a pound. So this item is actually very cheap to ship. So if the item weighs less than a pound, then it should not ship for $8. It should probably ship for maybe something close to $8. So even with the shipping, $8 with the item cost, there's still no profit, right? And that's because the price is not high enough. So we need to look for those items that are priced correctly and that are selling. So what I would maybe recommend is when you are looking at the sheet, you want to filter for items that are not very heavy, right? So for example, you want the item to be less than or equal to, let's say we don't want it to be more than, I guess 3 pounds, right? So all these items right here are less than or equal to only 3 pounds. And there's still a lot of items. So let's look for items that are lightweight, that are not very heavy, so that the shipping is not too expensive. And then you want to look for items that are in stock. So you want to, look for items that are in stock. So you can take out the 0. So there's two warehouses that they ship from. So they have a warehouse in Ohio and one in Florida. So here you have all the items that are in stock. And then you have some product description information, and this is like a category. So we can look by categories. They have different categories here that they have available. So that's an easy way to eliminate some items that would not be profitable because we don't want to pay too much on the shipping. And then the only other thing I would recommend is to look for other sellers who are selling similar items. So for example, this item right here, you can take the title and you can go to SIG Analytics and then search for products, and now you can see what other sellers are also selling that same item with that same title. Okay, so there's 2 listings. So they're both coming from the same person. So the same person is selling this item. So that their title is very unique. So if that's the results that you get, then you might want to do a search by the NPN. You can do that. You can go to the NPN and search on eBay first. So now you have all these listings. So all these sellers are selling that similar item. Okay. So now you have different titles. So just look at the listing and just compare that it's the same product. Right? So the seller that we were looking at was this one. So this is the seller we were analyzing, aerial view deals. So at this price, we're making some money. Now here's the same item from a different seller, ECOP. So they've sold 83 times. So they're selling at $60.76, and they've been selling a lot actually. Now their item location is different. So their item location is in Michigan. So I don't know where they are getting their product from, but probably they're getting it from the wholesale house. And they have a lot of feedback. So they're actually, they're a very well-established seller. So maybe I don't want to look at their store because they've been selling for a long time. If you notice, aerial view deals, they only have 328 feedback, so they're fairly new. So this seller right here only has 176 feedback, and they have sold 15 items in February. So they're selling it for $59.99. And again, the price of this item, let's go back to the search. Okay. Oh, no, it's not coming up because of my filters, maybe. That's maybe. I'm looking at items from 0 to 3 pounds. Let me look for the item again. Okay, so here's the item. So, okay, so it's 100 units in the Ohio office, and it's $39.99 plus the $1.97 drop ship fee. So for $41.96, that doesn't include shipping. So at this price, it's going to be difficult to compete, and that's the problem that I'm starting to notice, at least on some of the items. The price there's not enough price for profit, because we will have to price it a lot higher, and the market is telling us that this item is selling for about in the high 50s to maybe the 60s. So for example, this seller here, so they're selling it for $72.99. So let's look at their item. So their item looks a little different. I don't know, let me look at, no, so it's the same item. It's the same one. They're selling it for $72.99. But they haven't sold anything. But they're a new seller, so maybe we can take their store and see if they've been able to sell anything else. So then you come back to competitor research, and then you search for their store and just see, how good of a seller they might be. So they have no sales. So, okay, so bad example, that's fine, go back. Let's look for another one. So, okay, so this one is selling a bundle. So they actually have two for $79, okay? So they're getting a lot of views, so that's good. So a bundle, so they're selling a bundle, but they haven't had any sales yet. Oh no, I'm sorry, they've had 47 sales. But I don't think they're selling it as a bundle, so they're selling both, the black and the brown, for $79.95. So let's look at, okay, so let's look at this listing. So they're selling it for $79.95. So, oh, but it's bundled. Okay, no, so it is bundled. That's what I wanted to make sure. So they're selling two, the brown and the black. Because if you go to sales history, this is where you have to double check and make sure. So bundle selection, black. Bundle selection, okay. So they can buy one for $79.95, but they can buy two for $79.15. So if you buy two, I guess you're buying two bundles. It's a little bit confusing. I'm not sure if they're selling the both of the guns or they're just selling one of the guns. But it says quantity one. So quantity two or three. Okay, but let's say that they are selling quantity one, $79.95. Go back to the sheet. So the price is $39 plus the dropship fee. Go back. So $41.96. So item cost $41.96, and then because the item is a bit heavier, we'll assume it's gonna cost us, $12.85 to ship. So if that was the case, then this item has very good profit. So maybe this is an example of how we want to make the listing. We want to make it something like this. You can also take the title now that it's sold 47 times and see if there are other sellers also with the same title. We look at some more competition, and they're the only seller, so there's just one with that title. So it's just a matter of looking and identifying those opportunities. So for this product, the price has to be higher. So this one here, they're selling it for $69.95, and it has sold 6 times, and they actually sold one on February 12th, so a couple weeks ago. So if you go back to the calculation here, $69.95, that still gives us a little bit of profit, so $5.46. Assuming the shipping cost is at $12.85. So our price cannot be lower than this, right? And then you have to use the calculator and you have to put the numbers in so that you know if the item, if it makes sense for us to sell it. So here's another seller. So this one has a lot of feedback. So you want to look for sellers that don't have, 50,000 feedback because it's just been selling on the platform for so long. So this one here has only 256, but see, there's no sales on this one. This one has 119,000, so that one has a lot of feedback. This one has only 1,000, so this one is not bad, and they have sold 4 times. So they actually sold 3 last month. Their location is multiple locations, so that makes me think that there might be a drop shipper. They have a very, shitty, product description page. This is really bad. So that's what you have to do. You have to study the listing, and you just have to, start taking sellers like I did now. So this seller, let's go back to Seek Analytics, go to competitor research, and look for them. And just do the same thing over and over again. Okay, so this one has a lot of sales earnings. They also have a shit ton of listings too. So they only sold 327 of them. So if you double click on total sold, so these are the most popular items, right? So the speakers, so this item might be as a cover. So there's some items here that we don't know if the wholesale house, sells these items. So the first one, has sold 47 times. So let's click on this listing. So this one is out of stock right now, so it must be popular. So click on it, and it actually has been selling a lot. Super popular item. Okay, so now we look at let's look at the NPN. So there's 2. This one has like a period there. I don't know why. So let's go back here, and let's look for it. See if it's here. There it is. The item is right there. See, but it's right now out of stock, and they do sell it for $172. So let's do the math. So 174.80. $174.80. No, I'm sorry. That's the no. 174.80 is the cost. Now, how much they're selling it for? They're selling it for $220.86. $220.86. So this item is making about $4 profit, assuming the shipping cost is $12.85. If we go back to the sheet, the weight of the item is actually 11 pounds, so it's a lot heavier. Let me look at the information that I got from the supplier for shipping. So 11 pounds. So the most expensive this item can cost shipping, it could be, up to $17 in shipping costs. So it depends on where the item is going. The shipping can get expensive. So if the shipping were to be, $17 because it's just going across the country somewhere else, then yeah, the item, would be a negative. So the most expensive shipping, well, for this item with the weight, it's about $17.57 if it goes to, another part of, across the country from the across the United States, like somewhere like in San Francisco, or so at this point it'll be a loss. It wouldn't be profit anymore. So So that's why I like to use the average for the shipping. You know, 1285 is the number I've been using just to get an idea for shipping. So if that were the case, then the item will actually have a $4 profit. But that's just another example of how, you know, using Zig Analytics, you are finding sellers who are selling items from the wholesale house. And then here you're going to see the competition. So this one has nobody because the item is out of stock. This one has one person. This one has 17 sellers. 5, 4, 2, 7. So let's look. So this one has speakers. This one has 12 people selling it. It's a cover. And you can just go through their items and see which ones are, you know, profitable. Look, this is another one, another air pistol. This one has sold 7 times and twice recently for $91.34, and you know, multiple locations, so we know they have to be a drop shipper. And here's the MPN. Go back to the sheet and just look for it. That's all you have to do. Just look for the item, and it's right here, and it's $61.97. So $63.96 with the dropship fee. $63.96. So we're gonna go to item cost. $63.96. I believe is what I said. Yep. And they're selling it for $91.34. $91.34. And assuming shipping cost, there's a profit of $2.10. So again, we just found another item, and it's just a matter of, you know, making the listing better. So this item, you know, with this title is getting 12 views per day. So if we look at the title in SKU Grid, so go back to product research and then click on the title. Let's see who else is using the same title. So there hasn't really been that many sales with this item. It's not like this item is a very hot seller. So there's two other retailers or drop shippers selling this item, but only this one has been able to sell, and they have the $91.34 price. So now that you've found this seller, then we can, you know, maybe click on this one and, you know, see what items do they have, and maybe they have some of the items from the wholesale house, and we'll take their best items. Okay, so I think I've given you, you know, a lot of examples. By now, I mean, if you're still having difficulty, I guess we'll have a meeting or talk about it. But let me take this seller, let me go to the sheet, and then let me, you know, there's the information of the seller we found, and we know they're getting items from the wholesale house. You know, we already confirmed that. Go to items. So items to list. So I see here that you've already found some other sellers. Okay, that's good. So let's look at this one that you found. So from the ground up, so let's go to Sig Analytics and let's search for him. So they have 33 items that are selling a lot or that have sold. So filter for the best selling items. So, you know, here are the items that have been selling frequently. I have this new feature here, like a little Amazon box. So someone is selling this item on Amazon. Interesting. Similar product. Search on Walmart. Oh, look, the item is on Walmart too. They're selling it on Walmart Marketplace. $85.67. $85.67. So that's almost about the same price. Okay, so I think you're getting the idea. So let's look at this seller, Beach Audio. So this one has way too many items. Let's look at their store on eBay. So look at the feedback is so yeah. I mean, this seller has been selling for a very long time, so obviously all their items are going to be ranked a lot better. So what I would recommend is that we want to look for good eBay dropshippers that are selling the items from the wholesale house, but we want to maybe focus on sellers who have a much lower feedback rating, because it's going to be very hard to compete with someone that has as much feedback. So we want to look for those sellers that have maybe maybe from a couple hundred feedback to maybe like 3,000 feedback. Like we were looking at some of these brands. Remember, that's how we started looking for items. So I know Daisy is one of the items that keep coming up a lot. So if we go back to eBay and look for Daisy, look for the brand Daisy. So no, you're gonna have to put air guns. Right? So these are the sellers. So for example, you want to look for items that the picture has a white background. You don't want something like this, because this is something like a person selling from their house, not drop shipper. But see, something like this, white background, only 2,794 feedback. So they're fairly new seller. And we'll copy their store name. And I have no idea how long this video is already. It's probably long as hell. So go back to Zig Analytics, go back to competitor research, and then just again search. The same drill. So there's only 329 listings, so that's manageable. And they're selling about $5,000 a month. And again, double click to sort for their best-selling items. So some of these items might not be from the wholesale house. I don't think they are. So maybe this is a good example. But whatever, we can check. So I don't know, this shoe 27 times has sold. The brand is Dexter. I don't think they have anything like that here. So I'll go back to the list. Dexter. No, they don't have it. So this is not so this one might not be a good example. But I guess I've given you, quite a few examples already on how to find the items. So If you have any questions, just let me know, and I'll stop the recording right here.